Resurgence, to surge again. It's not a word that we use very often, is it? Resurgence. What comes to mind when you think of the word resurgence? Well, I live in Florida. My name is Steve Schneeberger. I'm the director of the Youth Ministry Institute. I live right here in Orlando. So I think of the beach and of waves. The ebb and flow of the waves into the beach, or the context of going over waves and feeling the crest and the trough of the wave. There's a surge at the crest and then the trough as you go through the wave, and then predictably the wave surges again, resurgence. So it is no secret that the church is on the decline in what has been termed in a postmodern, post-Christian Western culture. The Pew study released several weeks ago punctuates what we have known in the United Methodist Church since the merger in 1968. We have tried numerous programs and strategies since then to stem the tide of decline, investing our time and money in ideas that we hope will work. And some have worked, but many haven't. The continued decline is disheartening, frustrating, and probably very predictable. Research shows that a large majority of Christians make significant life-changing decisions about their faith before age 18. It would stand to reason that this would be the very place that we invest our time in. In fact, maybe the only answer to stemming the tide of decline. However, the church is severely underinvested in young people. Only 29% of paid youth ministers have any formal training to be effective in their calling. Bishop Carter, the resident bishop here in the state of Florida, in this area, and Greg and Susan Jones of Duke Divinity School cited this statistic in their article on disruptive innovation in youth ministry last year. Some studies have this statistic as low as 17%. While it has been an emphasis for several quadrenniums at the national level, it hasn't fully translated into life-changing experiences consistently across the spectrum of local churches. This article emphasizes reality we have known for centuries. Young people have historically been at the center of the church when it experiences revival. Therefore, these are the very people that will cause a resurgence in the United Methodist Church. In fact, some of you that are young people here in the room, some of you, your ideas and your energy will allow Jesus to be known in the lives of people that have marginal faith or no faith at all. The Youth Ministry Institute stands at the center of this resurgence. Better trained and equipped youth ministers will be able to reach more youth with a deeper understanding of what it means to be Christian. In nearly a decade of work in Florida, the Youth Ministry Institute has worked with 50 churches across the state to train their youth ministers, 43 being commissioned as completing our program. One of them is right here, Brian Maeda. We've also helped another 50 churches in their search process, helping them to match up with those youth ministers that are candidates to better fit the culture of their church. And we have extended services to 16 churches in a more in-depth way. And now that work has spread to the Midwest, where we were working with 5 churches this last year, and we'll add another 5 to 6 churches this coming year. Think of the magnitude of the effect of these 120 churches on the lives of young people. It really means 3,000 youth are affected annually by these trained youth ministers. Think of that awesome impact. Youth appropriately forming their faith have great potential to shift the United Methodist Church into a stable and inclining status. Experienced, trained, competent. Here are a few of the stories of the people who have experienced their call to youth ministry only a few years removed from college. I'm going to begin with Mark Kitchen. Mark actually has been out of college a lot, but he's kind of our local celebrity. Mark was on the very first season of American Idol. His youth minister, though, when he was in high school, had an incredible impact on his life. After working several jobs in the entertainment industry, Mark began to feel that God nudged him towards youth ministry. And he wanted to give back what was given to him. He's in his second year in the Youth Ministry Institute, and I can guarantee you he would not know how to give back if we hadn't been involved with him. Connor and Molly attended Christian colleges knowing that they wanted to be in full-time Christian service someplace in the local church. In fact, they worked part-time jobs as they were going through college. They felt God calling them, and they responded to that call. They just finished our 2-year program, and as they finished, they were hired, as they finished college, they were hired by churches who enrolled them in our 2-year program. And when they finished our 2-year program, even though they had a college degree entering, they said that they would not have been nearly as effective if it hadn't been for our involvement, our support, and education with them. Rob doesn't even have a college degree. He enrolled in YMI because he felt God calling him to this, but Rob actually felt God calling him to a lot of things. He needed to discern where specifically God needed him. During his 2-year stay in our program, he went from the assistant youth minister to the person making all of the decisions. Rob, by his own admission, would have failed in that venture if he had not had the support and encouragement from the Youth Ministry Institute. Corey has his degree in electrical engineering and wasn't a Christian when he started college. He didn't go to church, had no exposure to it. Somebody brought him to a college ministry event, and he became a Christian, and 4 years later, he was hired as their youth minister. Again, another example of somebody that probably wouldn't have done well had we not been involved with him. Experienced, trained, competent, these are the people that we produce out of the Youth Ministry Institute. These people will produce great results as young people ask important questions of faith. But this isn't just a big commercial for the Youth Ministry Institute. You might think it is. It's really a commercial for the fact that we need to be involved in helping train these youth ministers so they can be more effective with their youth. Deech Kirk is sitting here on the front row. He runs the Center for Youth Ministry Training. It's a similar organization to ours, but ironically, we are the only 2 organizations that are doing that in the entire country. We need more. We need more youth ministers to be trained so that they can be effective in their setting. So what can you do? Well, help young people discern God's call in their life. Specifically, if you think they have some gifts for youth ministry. Help them figure them out. Encourage them to go in that direction. Support organizations like YMI and CYMT in a real tangible way. Encourage what we do. Encourage training. Encourage your youth minister at your church to go get training. Change the investment structures of your local church. I firmly believe, of course, I've been a lifelong youth minister, so it stands to reason that I would believe this, but I believe that the church needs to invest more of its resources in youth than they invest in anything else within their church. So challenge those in your local churches. General Conference meets next year. Challenge that at the international level and what the church is doing internationally for youth ministry and specifically youth ministers and the training of them. YMI is unique. We are an on-the-job training program with multiple points of support. 80% of our graduates stay 5 or more years, experience a 131% increase in youth ministry attendance. These are statistics, sure, but really, these are individuals, young people, experiencing the formation of their faith through their local church, and possibly a resurgence in the United Methodist Church for this generation.